Hello, everybody out there in Facebook land, TikTok world, everywhere you want to be, where there's going to be a live portion of this broadcast, such as Facebook and right here on TikTok, where everybody seems to be congregating the most with the ghosts. All right, we are talking about making moves today. Let me make sure that this is on and in charge, and it is. And I've got my other one charging up right now. All right. I'm getting a weird little glare going on. Let's see if that fixes it right there. Got my hair flying everywhere. Welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions, the art of Monty Anderson. Hopefully, you all are having a great day as we are getting closer and closer to Halloween. I know a lot of people are looking forward to Halloween. A lot of people are like, nah, I'm ready to get Halloween over with and get on to the turkey and the Christmas stuff. Hopefully, you have bought all your Christmas presents by now, because if not, the days are getting shorter. But now, if you celebrate Halloween the same way you celebrate Christmas, then you've got things to unwrap for Halloween. That could be your next spooky goblin. That could be your next, whatever. But whichever it is, however you celebrate, hopefully it is a great time, because today is the 26th of October. That means we have 6 days until Halloween. So, what are y'all doing out there? We're talking about making moves today. That is making moves to improve your life, improve yourself, to, just find something to improve. And whenever you're making these moves, because why not, right? I mean, why not? Why not find new things to do? Like me, I'm going to be offloading a whole bunch of comic books. I've got a whole bunch of comic books to get rid of, and I'm going to be doing that uh, via the Macari or eBay or even the marketplace thing. I've thought about doing some auction type stuff before. I do have a whatnot account and all that good stuff, but we'll see how it goes. Um, right now, I'm working on the spooky doll right here, right now. Well, that's one of the things I'm working on. I've got 3 pieces of artwork going all at once. Those two are right here, I believe. Yeah, I think. No, they're not right there. I put them somewhere. I don't know where they are right this specific second. I've got a voice acting gig going on. So life is good for the most part. I mean, there's always things that, could be better in it. But as of right now, everything is going decent. Can't complain. Got the fireplace going. It is all of, I don't even know what the temperature is outside. It was in the 40s. Got the fireplace going. All that goody good stuff. It's that fall time of the year whenever the temperatures start to cool off during the day as well. So you're not roasting in that 90 to 100 plus degree heat as we do sometimes here in Arkansas. And, right now it's been raining for the past 3 days, and it's been keeping the temperature down in the mid 50s to low 40s. And pretty soon I'll be bringing in my plants, all my pepper plants that are outside right now, getting the nourishing waters rolling over them right now that are still producing nice big hot peppers, from jalapeno to scorpion to habaneros to, I mean, you name it, I pretty much grow it. If it's hot pepper, I've got it out in my garden. Um, I mean, I've got the Trinidad scorpion, I've got the Reaper, I've got the ghost peppers, I've got habaneros. Like I said, I've got sriracha, I've got um, what else I got? I got all kinds of stuff out there. I need to get some cherries, some red hot cherries out there, and then some what is it? It's a bonnet or something like that. Anyway, but I've got all kinds of hot peppers growing out there in my garden, and most of my peppers are container plants. I had a whole row of jalapenos and habaneros and ghost and all kinds of other stuff out in the back garden, in ground garden, and so a lot of those did well. Some of them didn't do anything at all, but that's just how it goes. It's the first year for that plot. I'm gonna till it all back in, de-weed it again, and start over next year with it all. But welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions. We're going to be talking about everything under the sun as far as horror, paranormal, sci-fi movies, horror movies, uh, comic book artwork, my comic books, comics that I'm working on right now, all kinds of stuff. Plus this new doll that I'm working on to turn her into a creepy doll. I mean, she was kind of creepy in the beginning because she didn't have any eyeballs whenever we got here, or whenever I got her. And when I took the picture to send it to the girlfriend because I found it, and it was like, as I took the picture, it switched between two camera angles at the same time, and it made it look like she had eyes for a split second in there. I wish I could have caught the picture of it, but it didn't happen that way because I was a little taken aback whenever it did switch between and it looked like she had eyes for a split second because she has no eyes in her head. I don't even think they're in. I mean, they could be inside the head somewhere, but they they wouldn't have come back to the front of the head. While I was taking the picture, as I'm holding it in my hand, and you know, the back of her is in the bottom of my hand, so the eyes would not have popped up. Period. But if you remember what she looked like in the beginning, which the people here, as I'm seeing, everybody that's rolling through, has not been here. Hello, Casey. Welcome to the broadcast booth. But if you remember what she looked like before, here's what she's looking like right now. Bum, bum, bum. She's looking much better than she did. But her clothes are going to start to become tattered. Her shoe already tattered because it doesn't have the little sole to it on one foot. So we're going to black in some things and burn some things and all kinds of cool stuff with her as she's getting better looking all the time. So, and she's going to be a great addition to the library collection in there of the haunted artifacts, if you will. We do have one haunted item in the library that we know of, or is supposed to be haunted anyway. Um, as the claims are from the person that we bought it from, and all of that goody good stuff. I see you, Tom. I see you, bud. The neighborhood cat is outside my window, staring in at me like, "Why can't I come in? Why won't you let me in? Because you're not my cat." All right, we just feed you. Much appreciated for the likes out there. It's always a pleasure to see all those likes rolling in, just because it's fun. That pushes us up in the rankings of the videos, and we become a popular video at that point in time. All right, so like I said, today's title is making moves, which means I'm getting rid of a lot of stuff in my life. I'm trying to declutter things as we go. And, you know, through life you accumulate stuff. Unless you live in like a tiny house or you you live out of your vehicle. I mean, you still accumulate stuff, but it's stuff that's practical and useful. When you have a house that's 1,600 square feet, I know that's small in comparison to some people's houses or even some people's lofts or whatever. Um, it is, you accumulate a lot of shit, you know, and then it just sits there, it collects dust, and then you start looking at it all, and it's just like, why do I have all this stuff? Why do I have all of this stuff around me on a regular basis? If you were to walk into my office right now, it's a disaster area because I was sorting through files. I've been cleaning out drawers. I've got just shit piled up everywhere. And it's like, why am I literally holding on to all this stuff, you know? And but welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. Again, I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions. If you've never been with us before, we talk about a little bit of everything from paranormal to horror movies to sci-fi movies to comic books to comic book artwork to my comic book works to my paintings. I mean, everything. We talk about a little bit of everything except politics and religion. And hello, the Batman. Welcome to the broadcast booth. Haven't seen you in a hot minute, but good to see you. I'm surprised Roy hasn't jumped on too because I know he's awake. He must be out there watching his women's sports of some sort, or his. That's he does that. Don't worry about him. I mean, you can worry about him, but don't worry about him too hard. Okay. I can't remember exactly who I was talking to on the show the other day, but they were talking about a tall, dark shadow figure with a gold medallion around their neck. And I couldn't find anything on that particular uh, person or entity, if you will. But what I did find is that um, basically it could be a combination of a couple of different things. Just your typical shadow figure in conjunction with the Santa Muerte, which is a figure, an iconic figure, um, but normally it's depicted as a female skeleton. And I'm looking over here because that's where I've got my information pulled up right now. And she is adorned with a lot of gold jewelry. So I'm sure that that person isn't back on the broadcast show today. But again, they were telling me about an experience that their mother had that saw a tall, dark shadow figure with a gold medallion around their neck. And the only thing I can find on that is that it could be just a singular related experience to that one person, to his mother. And she told him about the story. But that's the only thing I could find is that it could be possibly Santa Morta out of that region area down there of the Houston and other areas down in that area. But again, she is adorned with jewelry and golden items. Um, and there are shops devoted to her following that do sell medallions of with her on it and things of that nature for Santa Muerte. So I don't know if that's the whole gist of it all or not, but it is a seems to be like a random, singular, one-off, you know, a viewing of this entity, this tall dark figure, uh, before that for his mother. Now, if anybody else has seen a tall dark figure with adorned with jewelry, well, please let us know. Um, we want to get all the facts of these entities and things like that right, um, because they have a story to tell themselves, you know. And that's the thing with the shadow figures that you see out of the corner of your eye, that you see going between a door, and things like that, um, or on a wall, you know, and you just see it for a split second. Um, all the videos that you see of the supposed shadow figures that people capture in doorways and out in fields and things of that nature. You know, they have a story to tell as well. So we don't want to misconstrue their story because not all shadow figures, in my opinion, are evil spirits. You know, coming to do you harm. You know, those type things. And but that's how a lot of people perceive it whenever they start seeing shadow figures or full body apparitions or things of that nature. Um, and not everything is a malevolent spirit. Okay. Uh, and I know that movies tend to lead us towards that direction, that everything is a malevolent spirit that you come in contact with from the other side. But no. There are those spirits that just want to be heard, want to be seen, want to be known, and they have a story to tell, and they want to tell that story, you know. And then you've got another person coming on trying to do this whole word association of bullshit, and we're not going to play that little game for you. So continue on with your life. And and so spirits do have a story to tell. So if you do encounter one, try to find out what that story is, because your house could be a epicenter for their story. Like mine is supposedly, um, the story goes that, and this is what we have found out while living here, and this is more recent information, that in this office right here, it used to be a bedroom, and someone put themselves below dirt in this room. Um, they couldn't handle life anymore, so they thought it was best to check out, and that's what they did in this room. So that's why I keep this here, because we do get a lot of EVP stuff, especially when I start hearing weird noises or things coming through my headphones that you aren't hearing everywhere else. And I've had that happen a couple times where I've had different noises come through the headphones that I shouldn't be having coming through the headphones. I haven't caught anything here recently, but like the first, after I got this, which was probably about a year and a half of my 3 years of living here, so half of the time that I've lived here, I picked this up and started doing voice recordings in here, and I've picked up quite a few. You can't make out what they're saying 100% yet. I need to get some better sound equipment. So if you are a paranormal investigator out there, let me know what sound program you guys use to differentiate your sounds out there when it comes to your voice phenomenon. Because again, I'm not new at this, but I'm newer than I would like to be, if you will. So, Casey, you got your coffee out there? I know you're back home. You're back to getting ready to start the recording with that beautiful music that you make. Oh, the sounds they make. Such music. From Dracula. I do have coffee. And thank you. Of course, man. It's always good to get away from the norm. You know, I haven't done it in a hot minute. The most we do to get away is go do some crystal finding. Um, Speaking of which, the crystals are now in their round two segment of being polished. We took, and it took 10 days. Well, it took a little bit longer for some because I started one 2 days after the other one, and so I took them all off at the same time, the 24th. So the next rotation is the third. That's when they come off for round two, and then they go in for their third spin, which is another 10 days, and then after that, they get their final step of step four in the polishing process. So hopefully, by the time it's all said and done, we come out with some really cool looking crystals. And I know what it did to these crystals. A lot of people are going to be like, well, why did you do that to those crystals? They don't have their points anymore or anything like that. And it's just like they look really cool, even on their first buffing session of the rock tumbler with the sleuthing material that was in there with them. So I'm looking forward to this first iteration, if you will, of these being polished up, and we'll see how it goes. And again, they're looking really cool. They're looking like, um, if you've ever seen etched glass before, where you can't quite see through it, and before you could see through some of these, but we went ahead and took them in and took the ones that we, possibly won't finish out as far as nice sharp points and things like that, and and all of that good stuff. So we'll see how it goes. We've got, technically it's a 40-day process for stones, because each step is a 10-day process. So, you know, so you're over a month in by the time it's all said and done, uh, with polishing some rocks. you know, so, and like I said, that's where we ran into a lot of issues with our first set of stone polishing, because we didn't leave it in there the way we were supposed to. And we kept checking them on a periodic basis. And then I started reading up more on the polishing process for stones and things like that. And it says on your first step, which is the crucial step, do not interrupt the process. And I'm like, well, shit, I've already screwed up half my rocks that we've done before, because what's the one thing we do? Oh, we open it up, look at it, and like, oh, well, they're starting to look cool. Throw it back in there and go. But no, they say leave it on a 10-day cycle for the rotation for it while it's doing its sleuthing stuff, and don't interrupt it. Period. And so it's like, okay, cool. Okay, that's how we're gonna play it from now on. We're not going to interrupt the process. Period. So in 40 days, we will have some nice polished clear stones that look awesome. Um, So I know one that we put in there had a nice rough edge on the back side, and that got smoothed right plumb off, and so that was pretty cool. So these crystals are going to be cool. They're going to get turned into jewelry, other things like that that will be up for sale. Just like all of these stones that we've got right here will be up for sale. We just got to figure out how to price them correctly. Just because I'm seeing now that I've seen some stone places on TikTok that are live on a regular basis. Um, it's just like, holy shit, you guys are charging a ton for stones, you know, and they've got some pretty cool ones and things of that nature, but it's just like, are you like buying them by the pound? I mean, or are you buying them by the clarity? I mean, those type things. I don't know, you know. And so let's see. Bum, bum, bum. And it's not rocks, it's crystals. So there you go. There's a big difference between rocks and crystals out there. And tons of people are into crystals. I've got a whole crystal collection back over here. I got a crystal collection above my head over here. You know, so there you go. And there are people that do have rock collections, but they are collecting rocks such as meteorites and other things like that. But other geodes and stones and some people like quartz, the milky quartz, but give me the crystal clear quartz, and we'll go from there. You know, that you see on here that you can't quite tell here, but right in here, there's a ton of crystal quartz in here, spires and spears and all that good stuff. You know, I'd love to have a crystal house. That would be kind of cool. And where we go and crystal mine at Avant, you could do that really easy. I mean, if you had the way to get the boulders onto a flatbed or even a dump truck, well, I mean, it wouldn't be hard if you wanted to, because they could technically load it on a dump truck for you. You could literally build your house out of crystals. You know, yeah, like a crystal cave. Yeah, that would be actually pretty cool. Because just imagine how the light would play with any light source in there. The prismatics, the just the reflection. Because one crystal could reflect off of 10,000 crystals inside of a crystal house or crystal cave. So, just imagine what that would look like. Oh yeah, 100% the energy. Because I mean, even when you're out there mining for the stuff, you can feel the energy in the ground around you, because everywhere you look, for the most part, there's a vein of crystals, of the crystal vein that you're chasing, that they've dug off of and drug into the field, that you're still digging for those crystals, all that good stuff. So, um, yeah, it's just one of those amazing little things where that energy from that field is just amazing. It makes you feel good because we dig all day long, and the only time we feel how tired we truly are is after we leave the field, you know. And then you're like, "Holy crap, my aching muscles and things of that nature." So, you know, just think about living in that energy on a regular basis. Would that is that the fountain of youth? Did we just stumble upon something? Hmm. Excuse me. All right. So, like I said, making moves. We're going to be getting rid of a lot of junk out of our lives, which is a bunch of comic books, a bunch of, collectibles and things like that just sit around and collect dust so that we can make room in this area. I seriously still want to make this room bigger. Um, I definitely want to make it taller so I can move my Boba Fett, my life size Boba Fett painting in here, which is on a hand stretched canvas that I made that is 8 foot tall by 4 foot 6 or 4 foot 8 inches wide. And so it's massive. I have no place to put it at this point in time because none of my ceilings are 8 foot tall. They're just under 8 foot tall, just due to the time frame that this house was built in the 1960s. Apparently, they made short people back then. Uh, but let's talk about my new comic book covers that are out there for pre-order right now on Legacy Comics. This is Condry, Man's Best Friend, one of the two covers that I've done so far. Right here. This is an homage to Frank Miller, who works on Sin City, especially this one right here. This one is a direct homage to Frank Miller, From a Dame to Kill For, right there. And yes, less area to heat and cool, 100%. And I'm wondering in between if it's not that wide beam stuff, because my doorway between the basically living quarters and where the bathroom is, the wall is literally about this thick. Instead of your typical 2x4, this thing is like about 10 inches thick, maybe 12. I don't know. I haven't measured it. I think it might be 12. I think it might be a full foot. Um, so I don't know if it's got the wide beam in there like the old. I don't know if anybody's ever seen barnwood builders or not, where they go and take old barns down that are from the 1800s, that were hand sewn logs with the different axes and bits and things like that. But they're always on the lookout for those, and those are anywhere between 12 to 18 inches wide, and that's what my doorway looks like. I mean, literally, it's a foot wide, you know. And so I'm wondering if there are some wide beams inside of that wall, because I haven't torn that wall apart yet. That's something I want to do, is to, because I'm going to have to renovate anyway, especially with the way they've freaked up my floors, by leaving in the particle board and not even putting in an OBS like they should have, or even regular plywood. They use just typical particle board, and it's soaking up all the moisture that we're getting, and it's eroding out the floor, if you will. Um, I don't know how long that subfloor was. That subfloor was supposed to be taken up as soon as you know they got done with the walls and all that stuff, and then they were supposed to take out that subfloor, which was that 1 inch particle board shit. And as soon as it gets wet, it's useless. And then they were supposed to put down, the real floor, which was the plywood floor or the hardwood, either one. and then seal it. But they did not. They just put another floor substance over the top of it. They painted it, and then they put down, like in the front room, they put down peel and stick linoleum, you know. And then other parts of the house, whatever was there, they took that up, uh, which was a thicker tile, but it's not, you know, ceramic tile. It's more of the plastic type tile. But they didn't even glue it down. They just had it sat on the floor, and and so there was a lot of strange things that they did to this house, and it's all going to be redone and repaired. That's why I practically just want to rip this place down and put in a container house and be done. You know, a little bit more fireproof, uh, tornado proof, if you will, not 100%, especially if an F5 blows through the area, nothing's safe. Doesn't matter if it's a metal building or not. Let's see, and just go from that route because I'm seeing a lot of new metal construction container houses that look really cool, you know. And yeah, it'd be a lot of work to put one in, and a little bit of money because you know you're talking about anywhere between $12 to $2,000 per container, especially the 40-foot containers. You know, so